We'll say good morning. This is rotanweather.org for October 17th. It is a Monday. Right now it's 6:46 a.m. And we're coming to you today not because we're worried about the tropics, but because we have a cold front on the way, also known as a norther, and it should start affecting us on Thursday into Friday, a little bit Saturday. Um, but there's disagreement as to how fresh this will make our weather and how much rain we'll get. And we'll get to that in a second. Let's start with our satellite image this morning. Tells you what's going on out there. Mostly clear over the Caribbean. Very low chance of rain today and tomorrow. Maybe a little bit of showers over towards the southern part of Belize, the Tangriga area. But over here in the U.S., this is what we're looking at. You can see pretty well defined here a cold front on its way towards us, um, coming down in the United States. And this is the cold air that's behind that cold front. Up in the northern plains, we've got teens and 20s this morning. The 40s in the mid part of the country, that will be surging south. There's freeze warnings for northern Mississippi and Alabama, and even New Orleans is going to get down into the low 40s. So this is a lot of cold air here. So I thought we'd start by looking at this is what we call the temperature anomaly. That means how different is the temperature than what it normally is this time of year. And normally, this time of year for us, our highs run in the mid 80s and our lows 78, 79, somewhere in there. Of course, our temperature doesn't change a whole lot between seasons. So any change in temperature feels a lot different. 2, 3, 4 degrees below normal feels really good, let me tell you. And I think we all agree with that. So as we come through, this is the GFS, the US model. And you can see as we move into Wednesday, you can see the purples. And that's 20 degrees below normal, coming down through the south of the United States. And it reaches into the Caribbean, but you can see, according to the GFS, it just doesn't quite make it. So let's look at the furthest extent of the cold wind here. This is Friday evening, 6 p.m. And if I drew a line, like you can see, follow my cursor, this is where it's saying that the front's going to stop. And you can see that's just to the north of us. And so if this happened, this would mean some light north winds for us, some rain, but not a lot. Now let's see a different opinion. That's going to be the European model. And as we go through the week, we can see the same cold air in the southeast of the United States. But if we look at the furthest extent of the cold air, we can see we have blues right over us. So we might say the furthest extent comes down to almost the border with Nicaragua. So over us, we have nice air, 5, 6 degrees below normal. So if I were to go to this model here that kind of shows you in numbers what we're talking about, if we go into Friday, you can see much higher winds with the Euro model. This could be choppy seas on Friday and 25-mile-an-hour winds out of the north. Your GFS, still from the north, but pretty calm winds, 5 miles an hour. So we can't say with certainty right now what it's going to be like. You also look at the rain totals. Actually, let's look at it graphically here. And let's start with the GFS because we started with that on the other one. So as we go through the week, pretty dry. Wednesday still dry. Thursday into Friday, you'll see that according to the GFS, the east side of the island gets 10, 12 millimeters of rain. That's half an inch. And the west side is predicting 24. That's an inch. So between half and an inch of rain is what the US GFS model is giving us. If we go to the Euro, quite a bit more generous with the rain. As we go through Thursday into Friday and even Saturday, we can see even some purples down here to our southeast. But over the island, we're looking at browns, which is the 120, so 5 inches. And the east side of the island, 70, 80, so 3 inches. So 3 to 5 inches of rain is what the Euro is predicting. So when our two major models are disagreeing, sometimes we look at some other models. So let's try that, especially with this temperature anomaly. Let's go to the icon, which is probably our third most accurate model, and look at what it's saying about the extent of the cold air, and it also almost gets to us. And you can see this one showing the mainland because it doesn't have the sea as a moderating influence, getting colder than normal, but it really shows us more average. So the icon is kind of agreeing with the US model that we won't have a lot of cold air and wind. So that might make me lean a little bit toward the US being the right one, and that we'll get a little less fresh air and wind. But it's hard to say right now. So be ready. We may get a lot of rain Thursday and Friday and some stiff breezes out of the north, or it might not be quite so fresh, and we might just have a little rain. But as it stands, chances are good we'll stay dry through Wednesday. Chances are also good that we'll have some, if not a lot, of rain Thursday and Friday and fresher temperatures. We'll keep you informed, and stay with us here at Roatan Weather.